Hello, I'm John, the executive producer here at Final Show Films. I got a few notes for you before the show. First, I want to thank you all for watching. We couldn't do what we do or the amount of things that we do without the support of you, the viewer. If you want to support us financially, which we always appreciate, you can go to our Patreon page at patreon.com/fsfilms, where you can donate as little as $1 a month to help us continue this and all the things that we do. I want to give a special shout out to our $25 supporters, Antitonic, Waterflame, and Samantha Bates. Second, I want to let you all know that we here at Final Show Films are planning a little get-together up at Gen Con this year. That's August 2nd through 5th up at Indianapolis. We're going to be up there just sort of hanging out, enjoying the con, spending time together, and if any of you guys want to come up and say hi, please feel free. We don't bite unless you want us to. And if you enjoy whatever it is you're about to watch or listen to, be sure to check out our website at finalshowfilms.com, where you can find links to all of our other content, both podcast and video. And be sure to follow me at John A. Bates on Twitter for more updates on all of the content we're creating in the future. In the meantime, thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoy. And we are live.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to Werewolf the Apocalypse, West Rising. I am your storyteller, Mishell. We're off to a great start tonight.
John from Lupus Forum.
And yeah, John is currently in Lupus form. As you can see, he has the same lovely black hair in either form. And I will introduce the rest of the players. Let's start with Jack.
Hey everybody, I'm Jack, and I'm playing Tig, the Fianna Ragabash.
And Craig.
I'm Craig. I'm playing Grudek, the Bonar Galliard.
And William.
Hi, I'm William, and I'm playing C, the Uktana Philodox.
And Aaron.
Hi, I'm Aaron, and I'm playing Thistle, the Children of Gaia Theurge.
And when John shifts back to Hamid form,
I'm
he
John,
can introduce...
I'm playing Shadow, the Geta Fenris Arun. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm right here on camera.
Fantastic. So when last we left our heroes, they had finally all made it back to the Cairn grounds and were reunited after having separated to take care of various things. And unbeknownst to the other 4 members of the pack, Thistle just found out that the Cairn warder, who happens to be Zer's dad, is the one who has been feeding information to the pack of Black Spirals in San Francisco, which he thought was going to help expose the corruption in the Uktana and therefore help the Cairn. But instead, the Black Spirals just, as we've seen, just kind of took matters into their own little claws, and they kidnapped a person and killed like 50 others. And so Tim is now freaking out and has asked Thistle to resolve this situation, but hopefully without implicating him, because he really was trying to do well and is planning to honorably suicide himself, hopefully without any posthumous dishonor, because he's hoping nobody's going to find it. But yeah, he's trying to help by giving information via Thistle, and has instructed Zer to try to find some other way to get the information that he has just given Zer, so that it's not obvious,
Right.
Anyway, so that's where we are. Things are very awkward. And Thistle is about to return to Zer packmates and figure out what the heck to do. And meanwhile, Grudek may have some ideas of his own and some thoughts that he may or may not wish to share to help things along. Have at it.
So Thistle's Morning Cloud is the Uktana from the cult, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, names.
It's all right. There's a lot of them.
Yeah, so Thistle's gonna look around, see if Z can spot Morning Cloud.
Okay. Morning Cloud is off by herself, as she often is, but she is visible. She is rearranging some of the little stone arrangements around the the central redwood circle. They have very specific kind of religious
Hmm.
arrangements of rocks and things, and so she's just seeing to that and making sure everything's in place off by herself.
Okay. Thistle will walk over and sort of nod, keeping a respectful distance until like actually acknowledged.
It actually takes her a while to notice Thistle, even when Thistle is directly in her eye line. She seems very like lost in her own thoughts. But then eventually she notices that there is a person standing in her eye line and looks up and says, "Did you need something?"
I know this is a difficult time, but I was hoping to speak with you privately, if that's at all possible.
All right. Give me a moment just to finish this arrangement, and I'll be right with you.
Yeah. And I'll step back again. I know that I'm not allowed to participate at all. No, I'm fucking weird.
Indeed, yes. Only she knows the exact rock arrangement. That is,
And that's
super
totally
crucial.
fine. Yeah. I'll step back and let her finish that.
And it's about 2 a.m., so it's pretty dark. There are like camping lanterns hanging from various trees and stuff, and there's some starlight because there's no clouds. The gibbous moon is still visible kind of at an angle through the trees. Between that and the way she deliberately lowers her head so that her hair veils her face, it's impossible to tell what she's actually thinking and what she may be actually using this extra time to do, as she very carefully and slowly and unhurriedly arranges rocks and makes Thistle wait. What are the rest of you up to? Anything urgent while Thistle waits for Morning Cloud?
I think Grudek is just waiting for the opportunity.
Yes,
for everybody to
actually.
get together.
Right about now, Tig was on his way to go find Estrella's tent, I think.
Okay. She, all of the keepers, they share a tent, but it's not hard to figure out where that is. They're all pretty close together, and Estrella is actually sitting right outside it, and she's just like sitting, and it looks like she's writing or drawing or something in a little leather-bound journal.
Okay. So he's going to try and stealth up to where he's within earshot of her, but where she's not going to see him coming.
Okay.
But not like super close. Like he just wants to, if he talks or makes any verbal noises, she is more likely than not to hear him.
Okay. And she's pretty wrapped up in what she's doing. So let's do dexterity and stealth, difficulty 6.
Okay. Let me see. Wow.
Bad night for him.
No successes, but not a botch.
Okay. So he feels like he's doing pretty well until, without looking up from her work, she says, "Hey, Tig, what do you want?"
And he'll kind of glance over. Well, seeing as you're still up, I thought I might ask if you wanted to go for a walk for a bit.
Oh? She kind of closes her book and tips her head at him. And she studies him for a moment. And are you attempting to pull something over on her, or are you just sincerely just trying to?
No, he genuinely wants to. Right, he genuinely wants to talk to her for a bit.
All right, then you don't need to roll anything there. She says, "Let me just put this away, and then I'll be right with you." So she disappears into the tent for a minute with her little book and then comes out. And in the meantime, Morning Cloud has finished arranging her rocks and her brain, and she approaches Thistle, sort of dusting her hands off, and looks wary, as always. That's not unusual for her. That's kind of her default expression. And she sort of tips her head and looks at Thistle with her big doe eyes.
For me as a player, is this a place that would be considered private, or would it probably be better?
There is actually nobody within earshot at the moment. You're standing sort of near the redwood circle at the the highest elevation of the area, near where the cliffs are and stuff. But there's nobody within earshot, and certainly not anyone you can see right now because it's sort of dark and everyone's off at the lower elevations near the tents.
I know everything is Let me start over. That wasn't. I have some things that I need to speak to you about. Like I said.
She just listens quietly.
I know this is hard and not fair, but I'm going to ask you to please hear me out before acting and consider what I have to say. Where to start?
Morning Cloud just continues to watch Zara very patiently and still a little warily.
The attack on your family and the previous attack on everyone who was there previously was aware that there was a previous incursion by this pack of.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Oh wait. Wait, which previous incursion are you talking about?
The one a few months before we arrived, where they
uh-huh.
tried to get in but failed.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. Yeah.
And the
common knowledge now.
Yeah. And the previous incursion, there was, especially with the theft of the Glasswalker's cell phone, there was some concern about coordination, potential distrust. So the what's Silverglare's title?
Wormfoe.
The Wormfoe asked us to my pack to investigate.
That makes sense.
In relation to that, we learned, I mean no judgment or condemnation or anything else, and please listen to me for the whole thing. We learned you have a son. She looks like she's gonna slap me.
She just looks at the ground and she's just standing very still. She could be a statue of a woman right now.
We learned other things about what's going on and the threats posed by those. And that's where what my pack knows and what I know differ. I know that my Garu father was responsible for informing the Black Spirals of the existence of your son. He was hoping to mend this divide by tearing it open or something. And he has told me, and I'm inclined at this time to believe him, where they are. And these are monsters, blights on Gaia, that need to be rooted out as quickly as possible. And there is the distinct possibility your son is there. These are your people and your son, and no one except for you, save potentially your son, has the right to decide how this should be handled. With that in mind, understanding that, I want to appeal to you as a member of this cairn, as a Arun, to help me find a way to resolve this situation that does not drive these divides deeper, does not allow them to use this as a foothold to corrupt us further and harm us further.
You don't know me well, but those who do could tell you that I am not known for acting rashly. I am more grateful than I currently have the capacity to express for your coming to me with this information. Let me make sure that I understand you correctly.
Of course.
The Black Spiral Dancers have my son, and it is because Tim Rowantree told them about him.
That is how I understand the situation. There is, of course, excuses in other context, but that is the reality of what exists.
Thank you for telling me this, and you have my word that you will not be implicated in any way. I will not take any action that would make it clear that you have divulged this information to me, because I understand the risk that you place yourself in order to tell me. So you may use me as an asset. You have more information about this situation than I do. Please let me know if there's anything that I can do to help resolve this situation. I'm going to err on the side of forbearance, despite what I'm feeling right now, because I do not want to drag you with me into whatever trouble I may get into if I do what I would like to do right now. That would not be an appropriate way to repay you for your trust. So I'm going to take some time to think. I will be here at the cairn if you need to find me and give me updates on the situation. And I don't think I have to tell you what I'm feeling right now. But I think I also don't have to tell you that I am very good at keeping secrets.
Thank you. There's other things I was hoping to attend to, but if there's anything else you need to know, anything at all.
I think I need some time to sort this through before I even know what questions I need to ask. But I will let you know. I think
The
you've
rest
done
of
the
your
right
pack
thing.
doesn't know this, and they don't know that I've told you what we've learned.
But you're right. It is my concern more than it is theirs. And I am both surprised and gratified that you recognize that.
I'll sort of give her sort of a respectful half bow, and head away, probably just towards the general area.
Like the sort of living area with the tents and whatnot. It's the
Yeah,
best lit of the Cairn
Yeah.
areas. There's a lot of lanterns, and that's where people go when they want to be seen, basically.
yeah, like I know there's a lot of stuff happening right now. There's some planning and other
Yep.
stuff, and
And some people are even sleeping because it's, you know,
yeah,
2 a.m.
and
but
obviously people are sleeping. So Thistle's just hoping to get some rest, but also be available to anyone that might call upon her.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that's a good place to be then. Plenty of light. People can see Zer if Z's needed. And unless the other three of you have anything going on, we can jump back to Jack and Grudek, you wanted to do a thing? Oh, I think you're muted.
dude.
Is that better?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. No, Grudek is just waiting until everybody is back all together. Actually, probably will catch a little bit of sleep since it's
Okay.
middle of the night and it's been a long day.
All right. So Estrella and Tyke.
What phase of the moon is it tonight, Mishell?
Gibbous, waning Gibbous.
Gibbous, waning Gibbous. Oh,
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. So he will just sort of walk with her out to somewhere that's not dark, but definitely on the edge of lighted. He's not wanting to go into anywhere publicly trod at this point of night.
Okay.
And he'll start out. He'll just ask her what she was either writing or drawing.
And she admits that she was just drawing some stuff, animals and plants and stuff from around the Cairn area that she just likes drawing. And she does it when she's bored and doesn't have to work. I can show
She'll
you
kinda
sometime
smile.
if you want. They're pretty good.
I think I'd like that.
Yeah, I don't usually show them to people because then I get a lot of crap about how much time I apparently have on my hands, and they find other things for me to do. But yeah, they're not bad. I'll show you sometime.
No point in putting yourself out for extra work, then, is there?
Right? Right? They'll wear you to the bone if you let them around here.
Well, if you ever need some sort of distraction or level of assignment that might not actually be an assignment, I could back you up on that if you ever need.
So what's on your mind, New Moon Prince?
'Tis a nice night for the moon. Puts me in mind of Yeats a bit.
Oh, is that what this is?
Moon's a powerful force, love.
Look, I think you're cute and charming and, you know, all get out. But Dad is never, ever, ever going to let me hook up with a Fiona. Sorry. That's just never going to happen.
Well, if that's how the land lies, I guess we'll just have to see what the future holds then. But even that being the case, I like being friends with as many people as I can.
Yeah, well, I'm happy to be friends. And, you know, a little tragedy is good for the soul, star-crossed or whatnot.
I sure is.
Yeah.
Makes for a great story in the aftertelling, at least.
Yeah. So, you guys have been keeping pretty busy, huh?
Oh, aye, there's plenty going on around here. trying to figure out what's going on and who's involved with what and what we can do to keep things safe and prosperous for as many people involved.
How is C holding up? I'm a little worried about him.
See now, that's where you've got your eyes set.
My eyes aren't set anywhere. I'm not one for setting.
Well,
I would have been a ragabash, you
Girls.
know.
would you now?
Mm-hmm. I think
can
it
see
shows.
that.
So yeah,
Well,
I'll settle down when
Rag-
Dad tells me I have to, and not a moment before that.
I can respect that.
Yeah. But I imagine that C is who my dad has his eyes set on for me.
Ah, well. The lad has his merits, that's for sure.
Oh, he's clearly brilliant, but I just don't think he's the type that would appreciate me. I think he would find me more annoying than anything else.
Wow.
I'm a very high energy person, and C does not appear to be a very high energy person. I think you and I would actually get along a lot better, sadly.
Well, what is to be will be. And we'll have to ride those waves as best we can.
Yeah, we're a long way from riding anything.
He'll blink just for a moment at that. But as far as he's concerned, well, some of the incidents that seem to be cropping up around here do have the man a tad bit worried. Have you noticed anything odd or off? Might be able to set his mind at ease. Or at
Have I
least give him a
noticed anything
direction.
not odd or off lately? I mean, Morning Cloud is completely off her rocker lately. You know, there's the whole Black Spiral kinfolk living in our cairn thing. There's that. Yeah, and all of the Cairn elders are acting like completely bonkers, including my dad, who looks like crazy depressed. Like I'm like seriously wondering about Hirano right now, because have you seen him lately? He looks like he wants to just dig his own grave and die. So yeah, things are a little messed up around here. Did you mean anything
I've
in
heard the
particular?
stories. What about Tea Tree? Anything off with her recently?
Oh, she's always so calm. She's like C. Maybe it's a Philodox thing, but she's very hard to read, and she's very calm and very thoughtful. She's probably the only person who isn't acting strange right now.
Perception fail.
Well, I guess we have to see what we can do about your dad then.
Yeah.
Buck up his spirits a bit, what?
I'm usually pretty good at cheering him up, but I don't know. Sometimes
Well,
you can tell the difference between when someone needs to be cheered up and when it would be like tossing a pebble into the sea, you know, and this seems like more like that kind of situation. Like he's in a place
Defy
I don't
anybody
even.
to not be at least marginally cheered up with you, Ryan, but
You're the worst, she says with a great big grin that says the opposite.
and damn proud of it, my girl.
Ragabash forever. Anyway, yeah, so I haven't really noticed anything that might be helpful, you know, as far as you guys looking into the whole Black Spiral situation, because obviously, right, you're looking for somebody in the Sept who's gone rogue, right? Because that's the obvious answer.
Now, what on God's green earth makes you say that?
Well, I mean, how else would they know everything that they know? They've always been like a step ahead of us, so it just makes sense that they've got to be getting it from somewhere, and this wouldn't be the first time somebody in this sept betrayed us, apparently, so...
There does seem to be a bit of a spate of that going around lately.
You haven't been Guru for very long, but Guru history is littered with this stuff. You know, we have very stressful lives, and people go nuts under stress. And one of the ways they go nuts is they turn to the worm, and it's like clockwork. Somebody's going to do it every so often, and they usually blame us. And by us, I mean the Uktena, because we're a little on the dark side. We're kind of on the dark side of things sometimes. I mean, I'm not personally, but you know.
Well, we finna have any number of stories about the black spots in our background.
Yeah, every tribe has them, but nobody likes the Uktena. I think only the Wendigo have it worse than we do. Reputation. Well, okay, Bonors.
Well,
I don't even remember them. That's how bad their reputation is.
Ow!
Well, don't forget about Grudek. He'll surprise you. That's for damn sure.
You know, I don't
He's
really
a stalwart
think of
man.
him. I don't really think of him as a Bonar. She says, obviously meaning it as a compliment in that horrible way.
Some of my best friends are Bonars.
Woof.
Well, look on the bright side. At least you didn't grow up just across the channel from where the White Howlers used to be.
Right? Boy. I've not traveled much, as you can imagine, but that's one place I'd actually kind of like to see. Like, there's so much history there.
Oh, we're practically filthy with it.
My hope is that Dad will match me up with somebody cool who will travel all over the place, and I'll have to go with them, right? Because I'd be their mate. I'd have to go to be loyal and whatever, and they would just happen to drag me to all of these wonderful places like Ireland and Australia, you know, and it'd be great.
I recommend it. Tell you what, it's been an eye-opener for me, for sure, getting out to the Greenlands.
It'd be nice to be able to choose your own destiny.
Sometimes I think it's destiny that's chosen me, but either way.
I like that. I want to write that down.
All right, well.
Silver-tongued Fianna.
If you... I'm barely a patch on some of our good ones. Tell you what, if you want to know how we really feel, look up The Stolen Child by William Yeats.
All right. The Stolen Child, huh?
Indeed.
Okay.
I better not be keeping you out too late, though. Like you say,
right.
It's going to be a lot of work tomorrow.
Dad has enough to be depressed about right now.
We'll see what we can do to help him out.
Thanks. I appreciate it. If anybody could do it, UNC could.
Any messages you need me to pass along to me, Alpha?
No. No. What would I say to him anyway? That he has great hair.
I'm sure a clever girl like you can come up with any number of things.
Oh, I don't know. People like him make me feel a lot less clever, you know? Tea Tree does the same thing. When I get around her, I'm all tongue-tied. Philodoxes. They see right through you. They can literally tell if you're lying or not. Did you know that? You can't lie to a Philodox. They can tell. Oh, that alone sends my semi-Ragabash soul into terrors.
Well, I'll let you know a little bit of a secret.
Yeah?
Ragabash have their ways around that.
Oh. Interesting.
Not that I've advanced that far ahead yet. There's still some secrets that I'm not quite privy to, but I'll be ferreting that one out from the spirits eventually.
All right. Well, let me know how it goes.
Can I walk you back to your tent?
Sure. Well,
and he'll walk her back.
Unless she spots marked lion, in which case she would immediately separate.
Shove you in the bushes.
Yeah, she walks back with you like most of the way, but then when she gets closer to the tent, she's like, "We should come from different directions, I think." And she darts off into the trees.
We'll just let her go and then just wander off in a completely different direction, not even going back to the tents then.
Okay. She heads back to her tent and fetches her little journal and gets back to her sketching. What's everybody else up to?
So, again, this is probably mostly a me not hearing something question. Are C and Shadow still out, or are they back yet?
I think everyone, if I recall correctly, after everybody's meeting with Tim, they all sort of headed back in the general direction of the tents while you stayed behind. So they should be.
We went to the forest and we had our conversation and then we came back, as far as I'm aware, unless C wanted to,
Yeah,
unless
so
C wanted to
everybody's-
hang out more.
Everybody's in kind of the.
Grab a couple brews, go to White Castle.
C is currently training.
Okay.
Oh, then Shadow would probably be there because we do need to work on
that's
being
right.
able
You're
to.
off snacking stuff.
That's right. We would be training
Oop.
because we're working on our pack tactics so we can tear apart black spirals by the limbs.
Okay, then I'll wait for.
We just got like a bunch of logs that we're like grabbing at various places and pulling.
I think Grudek is sort of watching this with increasing restlessness, and then eventually will get up from whatever he's doing and walk over and say, "If we're only in waiting at this point, I feel like it might be a good time for me to go back and check in with my contacts in town. We'll stay out of trouble, of course, but maybe it would be best use of time for me to go and do that now. And we can reconvene in the morning."
No, you're probably right.
Do you want any of us to come with you?
I think the problems here in camp probably better deserve more people here. See, if you're comfortable with me driving your car, I promise I'll be careful with it, put on brake, everything, lock it up when I leave it. Won't be in the bad neighborhood.
Promise to use the brakes on occasion.
I mean, in San Francisco is a pretty fucking vertical city. You need that parking brake.
Yeah, parking brake.
He means parking brake, but he just said brake.
Yeah.
Was any
That was on purpose.
Truth of Gaia, was any of that sentence a lie? We were just talking about this.
No, all of that was correct, and he will. Actually, the only part that comes across as maybe not totally correct was when he said he'll stay in well-lighted areas. That probably was not true.
Yeah.
But everything else.
When is this happening? Is Tig still out with Estrella when this conversation is going down?
I think I'd prefer it to be when everybody's back, just so everybody can participate in the conversation.
Okay. So we're all more or less within earshot of each other.
Grudek, I understand what you're getting at there, but well, there's a pack of black spirals just off of a fucking mass murder out there, and they're full of piss and vinegar at this point, I guarantee it. You're going off on your own. They run across you. They wouldn't think twice about trying to jump you and rip you to pieces. Got to take at least somebody with you, lad.
Unless they're going into into cars, I should be fine. I'm going into to Bonor territory, touching base with Bongos, assuming he's up and mostly sober. But of course, if you want to come along, that's fine. I just have a few other contacts. You know, you've been to Golden Gate Park. You know, some of them are perhaps not as comfortable around the. He pauses and sort of sniffs through this more reputable Garou, shall we say?
All right. So, side question.
Wait a minute. You're not lumping me in with a reputable lot, are you? Grudek, don't you know me at all by this time?
Of course. Like I said, no offense intended.
I appreciate it.
If you take one of us with you, are you just going to split off anyway so you can talk to your contacts privately?
Yes, that's why I feel it may be best for everyone to stay here. I don't want to pull someone off and then leave you doing nothing in car while touching base. I promise I will be careful. You all know me. I am careful.
This is the part where one of us gets abducted. See? Your thoughts? And it is equally likely it'll be whoever's waiting in the car.
I think more
Is this
like
one of your? Is this? Go ahead, Grudek.
No, he just said I think more likely that it would be the person waiting in the car.
Hey, so is this another one of your anime? What's it? Trope thingies?
Yes. This one's not necessarily. You people in media literacy.
See, kind of
Okay,
pulls
yeah,
his-
yeah.
I've barely even read anything that was written past the last 20 years of this century.
My
I'm
point.
more of a classics man.
My point
See,
exactly.
C reaches into his jacket pocket and pulls out his keys and just tosses them to Grudek.
I thought you were going to say pulls out a flask.
Mentally, that's what he's doing.
And it's about
mentally
it's about 3
drink.
o'clock.
Yeah, it's like 2:30 a.m. or so ish.
Okay. He says, okay, it shouldn't be a huge problem. If I'm not back by the time dawn comes up, listen, you promise me something, though. I have to ask, okay? And he looks at you all expectantly.
Shadow looks
as well.
back without saying anything.
Okay. I have made dough for sticky buns. I left to rise overnight in my tent. You have to put it on over fire just after dawn. Promise. It's very important.
Yeah.
You leave too long. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Teasel. Should be enough for everyone.
Oh
is
god,
already-
I've never heard him say thistle before. His accent is adorable when he says thistle. Teasel. Oh, it's so cute.
I've definitely had campaigns where the accent I was doing made it impossible for me to pronounce other character names. So I tried to avoid that in this one. All right, I'll be back, and of course, we'll contact you over through the turtle if anything should go awry, but everything will be fine. You all stay here, stay safe, keep everyone else safe. I will be back. And he will, unless
Please try
anyone
not
else
to
says
damage
anything.
the vehicle any more than it already is.
Probably after Grudek heads off, Thistle will like sort of snap fingers and run after him. Grudek, there was a different thing. Probably not actually possible right now, but I need to talk to Emma privately at some point.
Of course, I certainly hope she's sleeping now, but and he lowers his voice. He says, Bridge Runner, even if he's not the one to blame for all this, and I'm still not convinced of that fact, he hates his job. It's very easy to distract him and offer to take over. The other children play very well together. Give them something active. Get them involved. You should have no problem speaking to Emma alone.
Right. Thanks. Okay.
Of course. You know where they keep the balls and the outside games.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Just they're happy to play on their own after breakfast. Don't forget sweet rolls. But after breakfast, they should be fine. Enough sugar keeps them going all day. You can talk to Emma as long as you want.
Thanks.
Okay. And
by all day, you mean until about 2 p.m. and then
when it is forced sugar crash nap time. But he will turn back and smile at Zur and say, "Don't worry, everything will be fine." Is everything okay with Emma? Anything I should know?
Yeah, it's something I don't want to bring up to other people until I make sure that I've talked to her about it. It's no big deal.
Okay.
I just want to make sure she's safe with everything going on.
Of course. And if you
You
need
don't
me,
have truth of Gaia. So.
and of course, if
That's
you
my
need
job.
me, just reach out through Turtle.
Of course. Thanks.
And
I
he
have a
will
feeling
go.
C's going to have that Truth of Gaia thing like just loaded at all times.
He's at the point where he is checking everybody for if anyone seems remotely off. He's basically checking what they're saying, if it's true or false.
That is understandable.
Okay, so in that context, when Thistle said, "I'm sure you'll be fine and you know best," Thistle was not necessarily outright lying, but definitely had more doubts than that statement. So.
Okay.
And to be fair, to discern unless people are just okay with telling me, I do generally have to make a roll for it. So
Yeah.
unless you're just okay with letting me know ahead of time.
Yeah.
I'm fine with telling you that one.
Okay. Yeah. That's definitely a player discretion thing. Sometimes it's more fun just to let them catch you or whatever.
Yeah.
All right. So as
Sometimes.
Grudek heads into the city, that's going to take him a little while to get down there. Are you guys going to go to bed? Are you going to do more plotting and scheming? What you going to do?
Eventually,
Roughly
bed.
about the time that they are in, they are about 2 sentences into that Thistle Grudek conversation. Tig is already in tent, in bed, eyes closed, asleep, snoring.
Oh, Tig. Yep. That's Tig for you. Never one to stress out when it's not 100% necessary.
Also known as
So
gonna
Thistle will
be.
finish that conversation and head back to the rest of them.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
So now we've got Thistle, Shadow, C, right? Because Tig's asleep, Grudek's in town, right?
Yep.
Training with C until we decide to go to bed or something else happens.
Yeah, there's a lot of on C's end, there's a lot of practicing transitioning from sword to claw and how well he can either put the sword down to use 2 hands or use 1 hand for a lot of grappling maneuvers.
At some point, Estrella reappears with her sketchbook and seems to be watching the training, and it seems to be sketching something.
At that point, Thistle will probably migrate away from that training.
Yeah. I think that's pretty much us. Unless something else happens.
All right. So, Grudek, since you're on your own, this would be basically you doing 2 parts of a conversation. So would you rather report on it when you get back? I had sort of kind of assumed that you would have other packmates with you. But I mean, if you really want to do both sides of a conversation with yourself, by all means.
I mean, however you would prefer to have it play out. I was not sure about the reception there with other party members. So
well, that's a very valid choice because some of them might indeed flip out. So yeah, I think the most logical way to handle it would be to have Grudek report back, because for them to witness exactly what's going on, it gives them one more thing to pretend they don't know. Okay. And they already have a lot of things they have to pretend they don't know. So
yeah. I had to go through a whole thing before tonight. I'm like, wait, who does Grudek still think it is? And had to sort of psych myself through that conversation.
Yeah. But hopefully we've got it all sorted now. Okay, so we'll assume that Grudek probably returns in the morning with probably some bags under his eyes by this point.
Mm-hmm.
And then everybody, do you guys remember the roles? Do you remember what Grudek told you about the sweet rolls?
Shadow does, and we'll make sure the rolls are put on.
What a great pack member. Excellent. So that goes okay. Everybody's up for breakfast and whatnot. So now we're looking.
There's
Sunday
just
morning.
shadows standing.
Mishell's operating on like half a night's sleep, and caffeine clearly did not sleep well.
There's just shadow sitting there in his Hamid form, like staring at the cooking sweet rolls.
I think Grudik will walk up relatively quietly, not smelling super great.
I probably smell you before I see you then.
Yeah, probably. Grudik says, Shadow, fantastic. I'm glad you remembered. Listen, I need to go wash a little. I'll be back. He smells unpleasantly of septic tank.
About the same time.
Does it smell like you've been in a sewer?
Yes, it smells, oddly enough, exactly like that.
Okay.
About the time Grudik gets back, Tig has already gotten up. He hasn't eaten yet, and he just sort of walks through the breakfast assemblage area. Mishell, I don't know if you'd say this was possible or not. If anything, he feels very withdrawn from the mind link. I mean, still present, but very much pulling away as much as he can.
You can opt out for sure.
Yeah. Well, in that case, he'll entirely opt out, and he's not talking to anybody, and he just walks straight through, and he's headed down to the grove of 5 redwoods.
I sort of look over at Grudik and. You smell like sewage.
He smiles apologetically and says, "Well, you know, Bonors, not always the best places to be staying."
As I recall, they were in a park.
Some of them, yes, and a little, very, very minor reconnaissance, nowhere dangerous.
Very well. Go back to watching the sweet rolls.
Grudik goes back to his tent, chucks in a small, not one of the 3-foot long ones, but just one of the ones that fits in your hand. The manhole cover hooks, tosses that back in with his things. Probably digs out some fresh clothes, and then will take off his coat and hat to let them air. And then we'll go to wash up a little bit. There's a stream that we used to wash up. Is that right?
There's actually there's a specific area actually where they carry water from the stream, and they have like tubs and stuff because they don't want to mix.
You don't want your filth carrying downstream.
Yeah.
He actually going to lead to some questions from the other park rangers.
Yeah.
Aren't my dad?
He actually probably will just go ahead and strip down completely and switch into Krynos and go wash in Krynos form, and then come back and change back into Hamid and put his clothes back on.
Estrella, like, totally, unless he stops her, she like goes and like watches him bathe. She's just like totally curious about it. So she just like follows him, and
Estrella's creeping on the entire party right now. I think we need to kill her.
Unless he like stops her and says, "Do you mind?" Then she'll go away. But otherwise, she just sort of follows him. Like,
I don't think you grow up with much of a sense of modesty growing up in a bone gnawer warren. So no, I mean he'll just greet her happily and then probably sing a little bit as he's washing.
And her demeanor is less peeping Tom and more just like I wonder what other kind of sort of like a little bit of entitled princess, and like I wonder what else he's got going on, like deformity wise. She like seems curious, like, you know, ooh, Metis taking off his clothes, what's going on under there, you know, like it seems like this totally, you know, like invasive but not perverted sort of curiosity, like, and she seems to have like no clue that she's like not allowed or whatever. She just has this like air of, yeah, this is totally fine.
and honestly, I think for Grudik, there's a little bit of the concept of, okay, I guess this is what they do in California. Okay.
And and also like considering the living conditions of the people that like actually live at the cairn, it is quite possible that no one has ever told her that people don't watch each other bathe. So, you know, not a highly civilized group of Guru here.
He will try not to splash her when he gets out and shakes himself down in Krynos form.
Shadows from Italy. We actively participate in each other's bathing there.
Culture. Yeah. Tea Tree obviously has her own cabin, her own shower, all that stuff, because she's super civilized. But the people who grew up here are just like, whatever. And she's like, Grudek looks weird. So she's like, oh, and he's finally taken off all those clothes. I want to see what's going on here. So, because he's always all covered up. He's got like always a hat and a shirt and sunglasses. So she's just like, ooh, new uncovered thing. I want to see this. Yeah. Almost innocent, but obnoxious. Carry on.
Watching Sweet Rolls.
Tig is gonna just find the quietest corner of the grove that's the farthest away from people and start his personal ceremony there.
Personal ceremony? Did I forget something?
Well, no, it's just I had messaged you in Slack about it like a month ago or something. The thing he does every Sunday with the poem.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's what he's doing right now.
Well, now you have to tell the rest of us.
Is anybody there?
Nope.
Even Estrella is too busy watching to spy on him.
Unless the word of God says I have to, then I'll just hold that for now.
Estrella would be the most likely snooper, and she has way more weird stuff to be snooping on right now. So.
Yep. Yeah, and so unless any of you are curious about why Tig is out of the mind link right now and where he wandered off to, that's just what he's doing.
Mishell would be, but Z is looking around and on a third cup of coffee, so not.
The kids come out from their little cabin and they're rushing toward the food. They smelled the sweet rolls cooking and they want to be there right when they are ready so that they get them fresh and hot. And and Emma just kind of trails behind them.
Shadow and they're like, fuck.
With Bridge Runner bringing up the rear, he's sort of like positioned in a way that suggests he's like just not going to let Emma wander off. So he's like behind her as she trails behind the others. He's sort of like corralling her, like, you're going the same way, kid. Come on.
I'll approach Bridge Runner. Hey, need someone to watch the kids?
That would be great. Yeah, I didn't sleep great last night. I wouldn't mind catching another hour or so.
Oh, of course. They're allowed to have the sweet rolls.
Yeah. They can have whatever they want, as long as it, keeps them happy. I'm just gonna grab another hour's sleep. If you run into any problems, don't hesitate to wake me up. But
we're good.
Oh yes, and he also continues to have his accent that I forgot he had, and Southern accent, and he.
Don't worry, Thistle's accent comes and goes like every 5 minutes.
Yep. Okay, so yeah, he heads back to the kids' cabin and just crashes on there's 2 adult beds in there, and he crashes on one of those, and the kids are eating. Siobhan and Oshin are like hovering around the sweet rolls, and the other kid, I think his name is Mateo, who's Oshin's age, he's just more sedately eating whatever is currently available and not like being a vulture for sweet rolls.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and C is typically one of the first ones up, but it's actually right about now that he's actually getting up and sort of stepping out of the tent, and he's kind of like putting the one braid in the side of his hair at the moment as he's walking.
Mm-hmm.
And sort of stepping out. Good, everyone's still alive, so that's actually something that I'm always worried about at this point.
Really, you can't take that for granted these days.
Grudek is probably wandering back by at the same time, still in Krynos form. It's pretty shady in here, right? Not a lot of direct sunlight?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right.
We're all very shady.
Super shady.
That too.
The whole thing is...
I want to make sure he's not going to get a sunburn, but So he probably comes back in Krynos form, and as he passes C and hears C say that, Grudek just says, "Welcome to my world. Good morning, C."
Morning, Grudek.
With the
Go ahead.
when the sweet rolls are ready, I will spend a gnosis for Master of Fire and just reach in and grab them by hand and hand them off to the kid and like put
That
them
is
in a
really
place to cool.
impressive.
Siobhan's
it's less
jaw
than
just
hygienic. But
drops.
whatever.
Siobhan's jaw just drops, and she looks so freaking impressed. She's like, oh, "Doesn't that hurt?" And Oshin's just, sweet roll.
Just put them
Magic's
on
cool.
just put them on a place to cool, because I don't actually have any cooking utensils, so I don't, and I feel like they'd be less happy if I used my claws to get them off. So I'll just resist the fire and put them on a place to cool for them.
Is no literally all he says in response to that inquiry?
Yes.
It's a very good thing Tag's not on the mind link now, because he would be like, "Oh my god, you just did that in front of children, and now they are going to think they can do it, and you didn't explain what is going on here, and god damn it, how can you be such an irresponsible adult?"
Actually,
Siobhan seems to have connected the dots that, it's because he's this ginormous
Thistle
giant.
did say magic is pretty cool, right?
Yes.
Grudek will also say to C, when we have time after breakfast, I have, I think, pretty good information regarding the location of our new friends.
All right, let me actually have something to eat, and I will meet with you then.
Well, trust me, I need about a gallon of coffee. But yes, let's fuel up, and then we'll go from there.
Also, Siobhan, Ocean, Mateo.
It was Carlos, actually. I got Carlos and Mateo.
Sorry.
So that one's Carlos. That was my fault. Yeah.
Siobhan, Ocean, Carlos. Do you mind staying with Uncle Grudek for a little bit?
Yay, Uncle Grudek! So they
And
proceed
through
to
the mind
try to
link,
climb
it's
him like a tree.
sorry, usually the coffee comes first, but the thing we talked about.
Siobhan is literally trying to climb up his back at this point.
Yeah.
He's just sort of laughing, and will sort of try to roll her back and forth on his currently giant shoulders.
Krynos are the best!
And Thistle is just gonna head over to Emma.
And she's just sitting by herself, like eating a piece of toast with nothing on it, just like.
I'll grab one of the sweet rolls Shadow pulled out of the fire.
Okay.
You sure you don't want anything else?
She just kind of looks at Thistle and just kind of shakes her head.
Okay. Everyone's got different tastes, but you can have whatever or any of the other kids are allowed to have, and if they're not allowed to have it, you come to me and I'll get it for you.
She just looks sort of dubious and nibbles on the edge of her toast and just keeps her eyes on Thistle, like, what is he gonna do now?
Yeah. And Thistle split the sweet roll in half. I'm not supposed to eat too much sugar. I am trying to lose weight. And plop the other half down on her plate. You don't have to eat it if you don't want it. It's just so that I pace myself.
And Emma sort of eyes the other half and seems to reevaluate it as something that has been discarded, and then just grabs it and stuffs it in her mouth with much more gusto than she was nibbling on the toast.
Yep. Finding a way to make it comfortable for her to eat.
Atta girl.
Yeah.
I assume at this point Thistle has managed to be a little ways away so that no one's necessarily overhearing right now.
Right, yeah.
Okay, cool. I just wanted to make sure no one's been mean to you. No one said anything.
The boys don't like me.
Mm.
And Siobhan is loud.
But no one else has said anything mean. None of the adults have.
No.
Right.
Of course, you also get the idea that her definition of mean might be like on a whole different scale to what Thistle is used to. Since
Yeah.
you've met her
Yeah.
mom.
But I'm also not a licensed therapist professional, so.
Indeed.
Um. Okay. I also look over. I just want to make sure. How are you liking the books?
I like the pictures.
Would you like me to read them to you at some point? Okay. Yeah. Yep. And this will continue. I'm trying to coax her into conversation a little bit, but just continue having conversation, doing things to acknowledge her and be like, you're the important person that I'm talking to and interested in.
Yeah. And Emma clearly has no idea how to respond to that form of attention and just seems really sort of baffled, but she's not like resisting it or anything. She's just like, I don't know the rules of this situation. What's happening right now?
And I'm giving, and he's just being as patient as possible to let Emma figure out what she wants the rules to be of it.
And she seems most comfortable when Thistle just like asks very simple, closed-ended questions that she clearly knows the answer to. If Thistle tries to ask her anything that's like open-ended or complicated, she tends to just not answer. And she also seems to think it's okay to just not answer, like, not even to explain why she's not saying anything. If Thistle asks something that she doesn't want to answer, she just doesn't, like, she doesn't even realize she should acknowledge that she's
Thistle,
not talking.
it's like, yeah, obviously that's fine. You're setting your own boundaries.
Yeah. And, she just get the idea that it never occurred to her that she would have to explain why she wasn't saying anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, it's probably a reasonably quiet conversation, but she at least seems to be pretty comfortable with this one and doesn't show any sense of mistrust or anything. Anybody else up to anything at this hour of the morning?
Depending on how much time passes, Tig will probably only take maybe 20 minutes in the grove.
Okay.
And then he'll, without much ceremony, just pop back up on the mind link and walk back, find some food, and tuck in.
Okay. So now everybody's at least within vague eye shot of each other, though Thistle and Emma are out of earshot. You can still see where they are and that they are talking.
Yeah.
Gerdek, what'd you find last night, lad?
Got some pretty good information. I think I found exactly where we need to go. When Thistle's finished, maybe we can all step a little ways away from everyone, and I can fill everyone in. It was a productive night, though. Yours is good? You feeling okay? Get some rest?
Aye, reasonably well.
Good.
Couldn't you simply fill us in via... I say via the mind link. Couldn't you simply fill us in this way?
Of course, but waiting for Thistle not to be otherwise occupied.
Well, it's probably worth going somewhere private anyways. We tend to gesticulate at each other while talking psychically, and I think that might not be the most... I'm not sure how polite that is.
or even just if it's all five of us sitting around in a circle going... that might draw some attention.
Okay, so
This pack sure does go to their own tents for naps a lot.
I'm on the hook for watching the kids for the next hour, so unless Grudick, obviously, unless this is urgent, in which case we can pass things off. But
I'm sure we can get through the next however long it takes for Bridge Runner to be back up.
Yep.
What's the supply level of food? Like, is there quantity enough for everybody? Is there more than enough? What are we talking about?
Yeah, they have some extra storage and whatnot. Like, they usually send somebody down to the city like once a month with, a van, and then have people carry crap up.
A van and some Costco card.
Yeah, and they just get stuff in bulk and bring it up here. But they also grow a lot of stuff here. So, I mean, there's gardens with
I imagine
stuff.
There's also like rabbits on strings from where Shadow goes hunting.
Yep, yeah, they hunt game in the woods. They grow stuff here, but then they also go down and get flour and eggs and stuff. They do not have any chickens on site.
Oh my god, the poor traumatized chickens that live at some Garou place.
I know.
They're just there are wolves, there are wolves, there are wolves, there are wolves.
Yeah, apparently they just decided that chickens were not really a great investment. So they just go and buy eggs and
okay. So Tyga will eat somewhere between 1.5 and 2.5 breakfasts.
Okay.
And then shift into lupus and go sleep somewhere.
All right.
Until he is woken up or otherwise engaged.
I'm just eating a whole rabbit.
Yeah, and sort of during that hour of time until presumably Bridge Runner gets back up, do I see Tim? Do I see Morning Cloud?
Morning Cloud is wandering around tending to the gardens, weeding and picking bugs off of things and whatever. Tea Tree appears to be in her cabin because she's not anywhere to be seen. Tim has been talking with March Lion for much of the morning. They're hanging out in the circle, the Redwood Circle. March Lion is just lying down there in lupus form, and Tim is talking to him.
That's fair.
Yeah. That's what's going on.
Yeah. Sort of related to that. Just Thistle is inclined to, once we're all free, get together. Probably wake Tyg up, unless Morning Cloud indicates for Zur to talk privately or something.
Nope. Everything's pretty much holding pattern until Bridge Runner finally drags himself out of bed. He actually sleeps like a half hour longer than he said he would, and then finally drags himself over and is like, sorry, I guess I overslept a little bit. I can take over for you. Thanks for letting me catch some more shut-eye. Appreciate it.
It's worth noting, over the course of breakfast, C has been very quiet and just sort of slowly composing himself, as he was coming out of the tent, was sort of putting the braid in his hair, sits down halfway through one of the sweet rolls, is slowly buttoning up the upper half of his shirt that he had sort of just left undone.
Yeah.
He's slowly putting himself together over the course of breakfast.
Okay. So by the time Bridge Runner wakes up, he's all got his everything in place.
Understands why Shadow wears exclusively tank tops. No buttons.
Okay, so once you guys are all free and find yourself a place away from the rest of the sept, time for a little chat.
What have you found, Grudak?
Well, I think we know exactly where they are. Unsurprisingly, it's near Mills Hotel, but definitely underground in the sewer system. My contact has been tracking the locations of disappearances of sewer workers, reports from bone gnawers and others who use the underground systems, and she narrowed down this place to on Kearney Street, somewhere between Bush and Suter. Same area as Ms. Hotel. You remember when we were underground, saw Black Spiral, of course, and saw Door, but this place where they are, all the locations have been circled in around that and have been most common there. Apparently, there's been a lot of work from humans going down into the sewer system. They've been attempting to make sure that underground area is shored up and prepared for rising water levels and so forth. Because trust me, if you live underground, I know this from personal experience, you pay very close attention to water levels. But anyone sent to do work in this area generally has not been coming back. There have been strange sounds, odd sightings, less appearances of vermin in the area. So there have to be guards there, especially in the one under the Mills Hotel. So if we want to get in, we could go in through manhole covers above and surround it and come in from other directions. The only thing we don't know for sure is whether it's at the intersection of Kearney or at the Kearney and Bush or Kearney and Suter. The two. Those are the two possibilities, because it seems that they've just essentially squatting in intersection areas, because the way that the sewers are laid out under San Francisco, that gives us better approaches and gives them more area. So we just need to find out exactly where. But either way, we will be able to, if we came in from above into underground, we could surround them, cut off methods of escape, and take them out.
Well then, when we give this information to Tim, we should make sure he takes someone good at tracking with him on the assault.
Grudek, you said this contact of yours was also tracking the bone gnawers specifically as if they were separate. Who is this individual?
No, is my friend Nose Ferret.
That sounds like something that warrants a truth of guy.
Oh my god, roll up.
Yeah.
Well, specifically, it's I need to roll intelligence and empathy, and the difficulty is going to be the combination of your manipulation and subterfuge.
Okay. That is going to be an 8.
Difficulty 8. It's going to be entertaining. All right.
Grudek is a little bit too good at all this
Still get 2.
subterfuge. All right.
Which means I don't know why they are lies, but I do know what are lies in that sentence.
Nose Ferret isn't a super lie.
It is totally a lie. Totally a lie.
It's a funny way to say the true thing.
Totally pings as a lie, I would say, because you were speaking it as though it were the person's name, which it is most decidedly not. But it is a clever.
Ferret is not the name of your Nosferatu contact.
But what if it was?
Then that is a Nosferatu who has very low self-esteem.
But you have to admit, it's a hell of a bone gnawer name.
It would be a hell of a Bonar name.
Oh yeah, totally. But unfortunately, C at least knows that it is untrue.
And he just kind of gives Grudek this look of, we're going to have a talk about this later, but doesn't seem to press. He's just.
Is Tig awake?
Tig.
Okay.
I will kick Tig.
I think that's actually.
Nip and corner shades are in the way, boy. What's been happening?
You fell asleep in the middle of the conversation.
He was never awake in the first place. Nobody came and got him.
No,
I specifically said that once I had been disentangled from the children, I was coming to wake up Tig.
Yes,
Yeah.
Thistle
Yes,
specifically
Thistle did.
said
Okay,
that
I
he was
completely
coming to
missed
wake
that.
up.
Though it would be pretty amusing if Tig was nodding off during this crucial "here's where the black spirals are located" moment.
We'll say he caught like, the first 5 sentences then.
Yeah, and then
Just
Yeah.
thunk.
And we can
All right.
arrange for additional forces from the city, other bone gnawers, and perhaps additional support while we're there.
Going fucking scorched earth then, is it?
additional support.
Well, they are. We, if you recall, the plan was theoretically for us to remain behind to lure out whoever's working with the bone gnawers.
Well, I still think that's a good idea.
Yes.
Grudek raises a finger and he says, "Just want to clarify, you mean black spirals?
Sorry,
I'm working with the bone gnawers."
Shadow would have said black spirals. I misspoke.
There are so many proper nouns in this system.
I
It's not
know.
a criticism. It's just
Grudek
a
is
thing.
just
Yeah.
very, very used to having his tribe blamed for things.
No. Shadow would have said black spirals.
Okay.
I
That was-
misspoke
that was a
because
John slip.
black spiral and bone gnar are different enough, but not entirely different.
I know that you wouldn't have meant it in character, but I thought it would have been
Yeah.
a funny Freudian slip.
No,
in
no,
character.
no. Shadow would not have made that mistake. I would.
Hey, so we hang out here, see what we can find, look for more clues, and wait for the bastard to reveal themselves, whoever they might be.
Indeed. And then we tear them apart.
Oh, so much blood.
It seems
Thistle, do you have thoughts to see at a really priceless moment?
Let's just make sure it's not our blood, please.
I no, I'm with you there, Thistle. That's for damn sure.
so. The plan would be then to allow Tim and the others to attack the black spirals while we wait here to find out this horrible traitor.
Yes.
But keep in mind that you guys don't know that Tim already knows where they are, so
That's right.
Might-
That's why I
Yeah.
made
No, I
the
know,
suggestion of
that's
us
why
yelling
We've
at him.
got the two
Yeah.
locations Grudek provided, and
Yeah.
Thistle, aside from that comment, which, by the way, if you wanted to roll on it, is entirely honest.
I mean, I don't have to.
yeah, because it's clearly honesty there.
Like, let's make sure it's not our own blood. Is like that doesn't even warrant a truth. A true
Yeah.
detection.
Indeed.
That is the healer saying, "Please
Indeed.
don't run off. Please don't run off. Hey, you're dead, very far away from me."
There goes Reinhardt. Whoops.
Well done. Let us inform.
Okay.
Truth
should
of the guy
inform
can't tell
Tim.
ulterior motive, just true false.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
Right
so
then.
Thistle hasn't said anything else about this plan since last night.
okay.
All right, so we get this information to Tim, let him call in for volunteers to go with him. Grudek, you're going to set him up with more reinforcements from your folk down in the city. And
Yes.
when the chips fall, all hell breaks loose, and we try and clean up the afters.
Make
I
sure
do
that
have. Never mind.
What is it?
So this will takes like 10, 20 seconds. I had a concern last night. So we're sending a group of people, competent, good fighters. We're luring out down to face these guys. It's not going to be us. That's fine. And there's people much better prepared to do this than us. The thought I had, the concern I had was, Tig, if I'm overstepping it, what would be your space if I'm thinking about this wrong? Just tell me. We know, but no one else necessarily knows that it's possible there's still a living Metis child down there who is not one of them.
Did we not tell Tim that?
Tim knows.
We told Tim. I just was
Right.
I was thinking, especially if we're not having some sort of plan to make sure that the kid doesn't get caught up in things might be a useful part of it. I don't know if that matters, if that's something we've already thought about.
I consider that Tim knows, and Silverglare knows. So if the Cairn Warder and the Wormfoe are both aware, I'm sure they'll factor it into their strategies, I'd assume.
It would make sense for them to make sure that no.
But if we need to
allies
check
are-
up on it verbatim,
Yeah, we're
and
just
that
gonna
sort of
trust
thing,
Dad to
then-
plan things. Okay.
Would it be better? Do you
Is
think
there
if
a
I
reason we
present it
shouldn't?
No.
Okay, that one
yeah.
was
Yes,
obvious.
baby. Okay, yeah. So my manipulation and subterfuge.
Yes.
Manipulation is 2. Subterfuge is no dice. So
It's gonna be
2,
difficulty
or
two.
I don't know if it's only in this context that sort of minus penalty for no dice would apply.
It's just a difficulty 2 at that point.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
this is difficulty 2. Roll your dice.
Watch.
I have 5 successes.
Yeah,
On
what,
5
even,
dice.
even if we
There
even if we
isn't
don't have
multiple parts
magic
to
tree
the
telling.
statement. The statement no was at least a half lie.
Definitely some falsehood pinging on that. No reason not to.
I mean, I think it might help that this will follow no, yes, maybe. Like, the maybe probably rings truest, but none of those are quite accurate to truth vision. I don't know how Mishell would decide that.
That makes sense. Yeah,
it,
that
it basically,
that no is
tells me-
definitely not true, and then yes maybe sounds more true.
Okay. So
Yeah, I got 4 successes on a non-magical attempt to tell that was lying.
Yeah. I feel like for Grudek, who's not doing it magically, the intent of the statement that's like, no, but yes, kind of, was pretty honest to Thistle's feelings.
Yeah.
There's obviously more going on than
So
we said,
Grudek
but-
would be able to read some inner conflict definitely going on there, whereas C would get the clear binary like that was not true, that is true.
Yeah. If
And
that
so-
makes sense
Yeah.
for Grudek.
I'm just
I feel-
confused
What do you-
because I'm naive and gullible.
Exactly.
So Tim, Garudad, Tim specifically asked us to think of the clever parts, and I think it's fair to say of the people here I know him best, something that might want to be flagged in the plan. Of course,
And I don't mind checking in with
Trust
him
them.
verbatim just to make sure it's clearly stated ahead of time. But honestly, Tim's more on the defense end of things, as I understand his role here in the set. So Silverglare is probably going to be doing the lion's share of the planning.
If
No
it
pun
would
intended.
If it would help to convey the information, I have no problem stating that the Bonors in the city saw one of the survivors from the camp being taken by the Black Spirals.
Tim and
We don't have to divulge the identity, but simply can make everyone aware easily that there is a prisoner to be saved.
out of character, just so I'm. Is Grudek talking about the other people that will be going with them, or Tim and Silverglare specifically? Because Tim and Silverglare already know.
Yeah,
No,
he meant the
To
whole.
everybody.
So
Okay,
yeah,
so everyone's
Thistle's
straight.
concern
Got
is
it,
not
got it.
that Tim is not going to know that the captured Metis is a captured Metis.
Got it.
Thistle is more concerned
I was just trying to.
about.
I was just
Oh,
trying
it's
to
a
clarify
bloodbath.
for me what Grudek was, who
Yeah.
Grudek's statement would have been targeting. That was what I was
Yeah,
trying to.
the whoever
rest
is
of the war
accompanying
party.
them,
Got it.
the war party. Yeah.
Whatever you think is best.
And,
Maybe best.
Grudek,
given
I'm sure
your-
you.
Go ahead.
Well, I'm sure you would have led with this, but I wasn't. I got a little lost in thought there. partway through the conversation. By which you obviously means no, he means fell asleep. I don't suppose you would have led with it, I'm sure. Don't suppose that your contacts were canny enough to figure out who from our sept has been seen maybe down in the city by themselves acting all suspicious and sketchy and whatnot.
Mostly me. But no one else other than us poking around near the Mills Hotel, at least as far as they had seen or reported.
All right, so we're still waiting for them to reveal themselves. No better leads that way then. Right.
Yeah.
I guess we go talk with Silverglare and Tim then. Give them the updates. Make sure they have a way to let the rank and file know that there's a prisoner in play and they need to rescue a hostage and see what happens.
Very well.
All right, Tim is still visible, hanging out in the Redwood Circle with March Lion. Silverglare is not immediately apparent, but at least you know where Tim is.
Shadow, Tig, if the two of you could handle talking to Tim Silverglare, I need to do some secondary planning with our Galliard and our Theurge.
Very well.
Our liars.
Do we want to make them aware that there are additional forces available?
Are liars, one of which has a lot of points in subterfuge and one of which doesn't.
I believe that was part of the information.
We'll let them know about the.
Yeah. And I think if we're cinematic enough to do a flashback cutscene, I think there's a cut to Grudek underground in this big sewer chamber lit by multiple screens, and he's standing looking up at this ancient-looking Nosferatu with sort of a corpse-like sunken nose and giant ears and comparatively beautiful silver hair pulled up into a tight bun. And she's looking down and says, "Oh, and Yorick, one more thing. When you're going in, you know the other Nosferatu are not happy having everybody else in the sewers. If you can talk your snooty friends into having some of them come along, you know we'd be happy to do it." And Grudek looks up and goes, "Ms. Einhorn, yes, I appreciate it. I don't know that most others back in this new sept are going to be as comfortable going into battle side by side with Nosferatu as those of the sept that reclaimed comfort. But I will make the offer if it seems appropriate." cut back to modern times. Grudek not saying anything more as he looks around at the others.
Grudek with his mouth clamped shut, just nodding enthusiastically.
We will make sure to extend the offer from the Bone Gnawers.
Hey, Shadow, what do you think? I lead off and then you chime in with the tactical bits?
Sure.
All right, let's take a break while you compose your strategy here. Be back in 10-15.
All right, we're back in a bit.
Great.
And we're back.
All right, so Tim awaits you in the Redwood Circle, Shadow and Tyke. And C has a conversation that he wants to have with Thistle and Grudek.
Which one are we
So-
starting with?
Let's start with C.
All right. So as the other two take off, C is going to spend a point of gnosis to help get his point across, because it lasts for 24 hours. So theoretically, it should last until the fighting tomorrow, later in the evening. But he's going to spend a gnosis to activate his Fangs of Judgment. So his claws and teeth, don't hate it, just his teeth at the moment because he's in Hamid form, kind of glow ever so faintly as he kind of makes the statement, secrets are going to get us killed. Now, among those of us who know to keep them, would anyone like to share first?
Grudek looks back at C and says, I have an oath I have sworn to another not to divulge. It will not harm the Sept. It will not harm the pack. In fact, it has helped us.
You're going to have to explain to the best of your ability. Without
Why don't you
breaking
go
your oath.
first? With all respect.
What would you like to know?
Grudek just sort of steps back happily and is like, well, this is a great development for me.
I mean, he's not wrong.
He gives you a look like we're not done here.
He's sort of, by all means.
What would you like to know?
By all means, Thistle, you dig this grave.
Could you use this extra shovel here?
What I want to know. You say secrets are going to get us killed. But I know you keep money. I haven't pried because, well, to be honest, it's not my shtick. And I try really hard, but...
Please, pry. I will either tell you what you want to know, or I will tell you why I can't tell you.
Okay. Aside from the obvious that you don't trust us, why can't I do my job here? Why can't I be what I'm apparently moon-defined supposed to be?
I honestly think you really could. I think you would be very good in any of the positions that are restricted to the Uktana. The reason that the Uktana will not allow this is because over the past several generations, every time that someone has been offered this opportunity or one of these rights has been given, it has burned them. It has the other clans, as far as the Uktana see it, do not have the diligence, do not have the experience, do not have the wherewithal to maintain what is necessary. And the more this knowledge spreads, the more it can be misused. I am personally of a proponent that would very gladly see a non-Uktana in a ritual position. But as such, that is the way it stands.
Fine.
Anything else you would like to know from me?
I'll sort of look to Grudek.
I'm fine with the current level of sharing from everyone involved.
Grudek.
I told you, I've made the promise. It is not of any harm to the Sept. It is not of any harm to the pack or any of us involved. The person involved is deep in the webs of the Weaver, but desperately wants what we also want. The removal of the black spirals and their taint of worm from the city.
How much can you say?
I have said it.
I want to truth of Gaia that one. It's gonna be difficult again.
Yeah, difficulty 8.
I can't tell.
Manages to hold her tongue. Is her tongue?
So I can't tell. So
See, I know we have not known each other long. Do you think I would take actions to put you, my packmates, or anyone in this sept at risk?
no, which makes me wonder why you wouldn't be willing to divulge this to us if it's not dangerous to our pack.
Because it would be dangerous to those whose identity I am protecting.
So be it. Is there anything you'd like to know of me?
Again, very comfortable with current levels of sharing. I trust you, see. I trust that information that you have that you wish to share with us, you will choose to do so. I believe the same of all of us in our pack. And he will look at Thistle and give Zer a little smile and say, all of us, if anything there is to share that will protect the rest of us and is necessary for our safety, I trust all of us to share that information.
C kind of looks at Thistle.
Thistle. The principal routine is really, really annoying when there's the pack and. No.
I'm not mad, Thistle. I'm just disappointed.
Oh, don't you start with that.
That was sorry. That was not in character. No, the last thing he said in character was just that he has absolute trust for all of us to share anything that would otherwise put the pack at risk.
I'm gonna roll a d10. I shouldn't. I really, really fucking shouldn't talk about this. Is there anyone else around?
Is there anyone else around?
Was that an in character or an out of character?
That was an
question?
out of
Is that a game-
character.
Okay. There is nobody within earshot at the moment, besides the three of you.
Grudek, you know the Bonar strength best. Maybe you should go over and help out Tig with the details of that. We don't want anyone else speaking for your tribe.
Grudek just sort of looks lovely at Thistle, then over to C, then back to Zer, and will give her a little bit of a wink and say, of course, as we spoke about before, I also want to make sure that everyone is aware that that there is a prisoner involved. And we'll look back sort of questioningly at C but starting to turn to go.
He gives you a nod.
All right. Then we'll turn and head off to where the others are.
Looks back.
Okay.
Thistle.
I really don't have permission to tell you this, but out of respect for the complicated situation of... Well, if she's mad at me, she has better reasons to be mad at me. So... Let's start with this. I spoke to Morning Cloud last night because I learned something that I felt like she was the person that had the most right to know and the person that and the only person that had the right to make decisions about. She asked me not to share it further. But fine. Fuck. I don't really care what... Worst case scenario, they don't like me. Oh dear. Such a tragedy. Except for...
Poor Thistle.
Oh my god, this wolf pack thing is so awful for her right now because... I know who the traitor is.
Mic drop.
He just extends a hand like, go on.
This stupid rivalry bullshit. So my father, not my other, my Garu father,
Tim.
He wanted to prove, for some reason, that the Uktena could also be corrupted. That the stupid keeping the ritual a secret thing was stupid. So his stupid plan... I'm overusing that word, aren't I?
It has been accurate thus far.
Imbecilic plan?
Stupid has been accurate thus far.
Okay. Was... Hey, you know, those amateur black spirals, let's just have them try and tempt people. And, well, then you get to prove things one way or the other. But they were more organized and smarter than he anticipated. And now he kind of wants to go kamikaze it. And so I told Morning Cloud because Morning Cloud's the person that deserved to know because it was her family. And I know it's kind of also your family, but that was a little more complicated and she didn't tell me to tell you. So I was like, yeah. And I am currently, full disclosure, this is why I sent Grudek away, disobeying a direct order from an elder by telling you this.
You may be disobeying an order from an elder, but said elder has committed an action that may cause a cairn to be violated.
Yeah.
Likewise, said elder may be taking an action that would cause a cairn to be violated, but said elder also intends not to let thy people tend thy sickness.
Complicated.
The law of the Guru and the Litany is complicated, and it is a task that is placed upon the Philodox to reckon out. In this moment, the greatest absolution and justice that can be done is to properly root out this foe.
Yeah.
So with this knowledge in hand, we can properly move forward.
According to Tim, Grudek's information about the sewers is pretty accurate. He apparently went by an entrance by Bush and Kearney, which is one of the two Grudek suggested.
Mm-hmm.
This is why I went to a Ragabash.
It's understandable. But this is a matter for a Philodox, and let this be our repentance, shall we?
Fine.
The sentence is passed even if those who are underneath it do not recognize it. A trial of redemption. If everyone makes it out of here alive, and the black spirals are dealt with properly, then redemption is had and all is forgiven.
Do you want to roll insight?
Sure, why not?
I don't know which one that is, but...
That'd be wits and empathy.
No.
Same thing as Truth to Gaia, but not quite. Wits instead of intelligence. Wits and empathy. Does the dungeon master, does the storyteller have a difficulty in mind?
For what exactly are you trying to suss out here?
Reading something about Thistle's reaction to that sentence.
I'd honestly say difficulty 6. Like, Thistle is not a master of...
Yeah.
misdirection.
I've got decent manipulation. I don't have much else.
Yeah.
4 successes.
Okay.
Yeah, with 4 successes, Thistle looks... There's a weird level of apathy to the response to that. There's just like almost a, yeah, sure, whatever helps you sleep at night. Not necessarily irreverence, but it clearly doesn't matter to Thistle. There's also clearly something else Zur is more concerned about in relation to that.
And almost speaking to that second notion, though, it matters to someone, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, and that's why I'm skeptical of institutionalized punishment.
I'll let you in on a secret. So am I.
Someone was born under the wrong moon. Your destiny is institutionalized punishment.
But I do the best that I can within the system to ensure that proper justice is done.
Okay, whatever. You have the information now. Go run off and be an Uktena with it.
And speaking of...
You don't have to trust me, Thistle. But I trust all of you.
Oh, I trust you just fine. I wouldn't be here if I didn't.
Well, let's go save the world then, shall we?
And so cut to Tim being approached by Shadow and Tig, and then I guess Grudek trailing behind. He is sitting with March Lion, who appears to have fallen asleep, and Tim is just sitting there with him.
So Tig will walk up and just kind of give him a wave and then like a jerk of the head, like...
He glances at March Lion with very real concern on his face, but then sort of nods and follows Tig wherever he's attempting to lead him.
He'll just try and find a quiet area that looks out of the way and not likely to be eavesdropped upon.
Okay. And Tim settles his large and somewhat creaky frame onto the ground and crosses his legs and just rests his hands on his knees and looks tranquil in a Tim sort of way.
Well, first off, have you seen Silver Glare about anywhere?
She's still in the city.
Right then. All right, we might have to ring her up then, as soon as we can. But we've got a bit of information that Grudak gathered while he was down there himself last night.
Oh, yeah?
And Tig will just reiterate everything that had been said previously. We've got some backup. Here's the details that he gave about it. Here are the couple of locations that he said access might be. Please remember and try and find a good way to share with everybody going in that there is a hostage who will need to be extracted. Tell them the idea that we had about saying that, hey, we touched base with the Bone Gnawers, they got some intel to us, and surprise, they said that they had a hostage with them, so we should definitely look into rescuing whoever that might be.
That sounds exactly like me. As Grudak runs up.
Okay.
So that's about the long and short of it. Shadow here has a few tactical concepts and ideas that you might be able to provide as well.
All right, cross-referencing that with what my police contacts have told me, which isn't much, but fits in with what you're saying here, and also just with what I know of the layout of the city and so on. I'm thinking of those two intersections you mentioned that Bush and Kearney sound like the likely spot. Do you have reason to believe that Morning Cloud's son is still alive?
I'd probably have to talk to Grudak about that, actually. He's the one who made contact with him, so I don't reckon he didn't mention anything definitive one way or the other, I don't think.
The only thing we know is that he sent a letter, so he definitely survived the massacre.
Yeah,
but that was a couple days ago now, I think.
Yeah, that was a few days
Sunday
back.
morning, and the letter
was.
The letter was Saturday morning, I believe. So it's been.
I thought it was Friday morning, but
was it? Okay, so it's been 48 hours.
It was either Friday or Saturday.
It's either
morning,
been 24 or 48 hours. I'm very bad with timelines.
Can we assume that Grudak is there by now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Speaking of fucking devil, Grudak, you're the devil.
That's not something I haven't heard before. Believe me, Mishell. Just to ask you, as a player, that's not anything in the information that he got from Greta, right? Regarding somebody with them,
right? Greta has no one who has actual eyes on the pack. They've just been extrapolating the location based on incidents. Okay. None of them have actually encountered the black spirals and lived, so
okay.
They haven't seen anything firsthand.
Yeah. All right. Then he'll say that's from what I understand. We have no way, of course, to guarantee, and obviously that's something that could change in an instant. But I don't see any reason to operate under any assumption other than the fact that they may still be alive, and so we should comport ourselves in such a way as to hope for the best but plan for the worst.
There's a worse situation that we should take into account, and I understand not wanting the child to be harmed, but if the black spirals have chosen to keep the child alive, there's really only one use they would have for him, and that is to turn him. And they may use him as bait. He may already be with them, and there's no way to tell by looking. So if you do show mercy and he turns on you, that may be part of their plan. If he's still alive, it's a 90% chance that he's a trap. And I know
Grudak, you can suss that sort of thing out, can't you?
It really depends. A freshly turned black spiral doesn't necessarily reek any different of the worm from depending on how they turned him. If he has actually gone into the umbra and walked the black spiral, then yes, you'll absolutely smell that on him. But if not, if they've just brainwashed him, talked him into it, you're not going to smell that, not yet. It takes a while for it to really seep in.
I'm not suggesting we walk in, find this child, and all roll over to show our throats, but we could still extract them and better evaluate them. Perhaps not bringing them back here, but...
Have you been down in the sewers under San Francisco? He says, looking at Grudick. All right, you've seen what it looks like down there. This is not a place we're going to have a lot of room to maneuver, to do anything fancy. The only way this is going to work is that intersection. There's 4 routes, and then there's probably going to be a slightly larger area where they live, where they've got their, enough room for the 6 of them to sleep, rest, hang out, eat, whatever it is they do. I don't even want to know what all they do. Anyway, there's going to be 4 passages running underneath each of those streets that go to that area. And you've seen, Grudick, you shift into Krynos form, you fill the whole passage. You're crawling.
Even to get in, we would need to be in Hamid form to traverse the ladders.
To get in from street level, you'll have to shift to Hamid form. These are very cramped quarters. So we're not going to be able to do any really fancy maneuvers. The only way this is going to work is if the 6 of them are crouched in their little hidey hole, and we have people coming from all 4 directions, and we just hem them in. We just trap them, and then it's a bloodbath, and whoever comes out of there alive, we just have to outnumber them. We squeeze in enough people through those 4 passages that they have no way to get out until everyone's dead on one side.
Well, to consider for a moment. So he would be sort of being quiet while Jack, pardon me, while Tig is saying whatever Tig's about to say.
Okay.
I'll defer to Shadow and you on this one, Tim. But wouldn't maybe either Lupus or Hispo be a better form to go in on narrow quarters then?
Yeah, I mean either way. But what I'm saying is that there's
I'm sure it's still going to be single file.
We're going to be fighting either in Hispo or Krynos form. I mean, they'll certainly shift into whatever form best suits them. It's going to be cramped. There's going to be fangs and claws flying. It's going to be hard enough just to avoid hitting our own pack mates, let alone trying to do complicated maneuvers where we don't hurt one of them that may or may not be in the way. You see what I'm saying?
My suggestion would be then to draw them out of the cramped space.
And then they have the advantage again because they're in the city. They don't care about being seen. The only way that we're going to defeat them, if we want to wipe them out, which is what I want, don't get me wrong, nothing matters to me more than just wiping these bastards off the face of the earth, even if I have to die to do it. The only way to wipe them out is to make sure they don't get out from underground. We've got to trap them in there and just annihilate them. Because if we give them the chance to get out, they'll go rampaging through the streets. They don't care. We are the ones who care about that. We're in the middle of a city. We're in downtown San Francisco. You let them out, it's going to be worse.
Not out. I may have misunderstood, but from what I have gleaned, there are places. Not everywhere in the sewers is as tightly cramped as the area they are located.
Oh, it is, yes. It's only in San Francisco even that there's room for people to crawl around down there. Most cities, modern sewers, you couldn't even fit a person down under most of it. It's only in San Francisco. They've got this antique, crazy brick tunnels down there that they're trying to work on them right now, but their workers are getting killed, apparently. Anyway, yeah, they have this antique sewer system that allows all manner of creatures to crawl around down there, and that's the only thing that even allows us this much mobility. There's that area where they squat, where the intersection is. That's the most space we're going to get.
We're not going to be able to annihilate them utterly if they have a more comfortable location that we have to crawl on our hands and knees to get into.
It's not going to be pretty, but the only way we can trap them and wipe them out.
I like where your head's at. If I could present possibly an alternative solution. This entire thing reminds me a bit of an old story called The Cask of Amontillado. And if there's truly 4 entrances and no other exits, I mean, and Grudek, your lot is comfortable investigating the sewers and such, walling him in, burying him alive. Hell, we could even make it look like ground subsidence or something and collapse a couple sewer lines and then just let him rot.
And then we definitely take the kid with it.
That is the one
that loses
sacrifice.
Alternative.
Well, it would kill fewer of us for sure, but also this would take a while to set up if we're talking about collapsing sewer tunnels. Also, we're messing with city infrastructure. How exactly are you visualizing doing this quickly and decisively?
And Taig, I
makes me wish I still had a couple of my IRA buddies on the speed dial.
Well, and I load your concept, but the other problem is, as we've just discussed, these are not old forgotten tunnels. They are still in use. If we bury multiple black spirals, almost certainly, and he gestures to himself, there are metis among them. And those bodies are found by the workers sent to repair it.
Which they would have to do, because if we block off those tunnels, someone is going to have to unblock them because those are working sewer lines. So.
Exactly.
Well, I'm reasonably sure, and fill me in if I'm wrong, but seems to me that you can still let water out without letting a lupus out.
But now we're talking about keeping them there till they die of thirst. And God only knows what they could come up with in the meantime. This has got to be quick. It's got to be before they even know we're onto them. The only advantage we have right now is that they don't know that we know where they are. So they're still hanging out there, thinking they're safe and happy. And I have ways of potentially using my contacts to make them feel even more safe and happy down there. And so that's the only advantage we have.
Suspicions.
So that's the only chance we have is.
I just let me know when our scene is relative to this timeline coming to an end, because the next thing C was going to do is head over to where they're at. So
yeah, you guys can show up at this point if you wish.
One other thing Thistle would say before we arrived is just one other. If you're gonna go to Marchline with this, please bring me.
I'm not going to Marchline with this yet. We're going to battle with this first.
Okay.
So that's the advantage we have, is that they have no idea that we know where they are, that they're in any danger. So they're hanging out there. That's their little safety zone. And the only way this works is if suddenly from all 4 directions they're hemmed in and nothing but death coming at them. And there will be collateral damage, but then they will be gone, wiped out.
All right.
Then we're all going, C says, as he approaches with the rest of the group.
Well, we can't all go, because there is the possibility that they're luring us out so that they can send someone to attack the cairn. So we do need someone on defense. But I'm open to who wants to go, who wants to defend, except that I'm going, because I'm going.
To help ease the burden. And Grudek is saying this. Sometimes I talk slowly because I, as a player, am thinking about it. Grudek is saying this slowly in character. Ease the burden on who goes where. As you all know, there are other things than Garou in the city, and the Bone Gnawers have told me that, much like the sewers at home in Brest, here is same, and there are Nosferatu.
Oh, you got to be kidding me.
Just
Wait, which is this? I think I missed that day of intro to werewolves.
Vampires.
Nosferatu are
Leeches.
vampires. Fucking
That's
vampires.
what?
malformed, driven underground, and out of sight of humans. But they are being invaded just as much, if not more, than Garou territory in the city by the Black Spirals. In fact, their lairs are much more located below ground compared to those of the Bone Gnawers, who only occasionally venture there.
Look, the enemy of my enemy.
Quick question for you there, Gurdak. Just very brief inquiry. What the actual goddamn eternal fuck? Vampires are real?
Yes, vampires
Isn't
are
it
real.
fantastic?
And I didn't realize that there were any in San Francisco proper. And it seems like that's something the Bone Gnawers ought to have shared with us. But anyhow,
Grudak
Put a
shrugs.
certain light on it. The Bone Gnawers just have shared it with you.
the
Getting-
thing is,
getting-
it may seem like enemy of my enemy is a great resource, but these are vampires we're talking about. There's no reason why they will cooperate with us. Even if they want the Black Spirals out of their territory, which I'm sure they do, the minute they're gone, they're going to turn on us. That's what vampires do. They are creatures of the worm through and through.
And you know just as well as I will that if they attempt to turn on us, we will destroy them. They are small, and Grudak is rather uncharacteristically actually getting a little bit irritated at this point. He says, "But you say that is information the Bone Gnawers should share. Do you share information regarding this sept with the Bone Gnawers as they stand on the streets and eat scraps, and you live here in the bounty of Gaia, and I am the first to pass the bond of this cairn?" Do not speak to me of what the Bone Gnawers should share.
Well, this is why we don't share with them, because they're apparently making friends with damn vampires.
See, at
That
this point,
logic doesn't carry through.
see, at this point, stands up.
If what we tell them, how do we know it's not going to end up in the hands of agents of the worm? If they're
You-
cozy with vampires, why does that?
You didn't know they were cozy with vampires until just now. Thus, not sharing before now has nothing to do with that information. It's retroactively justifying a previous stance.
There's a whole history with the Bone Gnawers. You don't have to know the specifics of a situation to know history. If you've been a Garou for more than a year or two, you know how
Thistle is just going
made
to
up
try
for
and catch Tim's eye.
And this is not what we need to be talking about right now. We need to talk about destroying these damn black spirals. And I don't like the idea of recruiting, even if agents of the worm could help us. That historically tends to be a mistake, he says, making direct eye contact with Thistle.
At the same time, don't we have enough inter-tribe conflict already without being mean to Bone Gnawers?
Look, I didn't ask the Bone Gnawers to get cozy with leeches, you know?
Grudak interrupts again, which also is not a standard thing for him to do, and he says, if you track the location of dangerous animals in and around this sept through this park, are you cozy with them? Do you honestly blame the Bone Gnawers for attempting to locate and keep tabs, and yes, occasionally kill and trim those who overlap with their territory? They're aware of them. Communication can be made to avoid bloodshed, to avoid the breaking of the veil, to avoid exposing this world to the humans and to allow them to continue to live.
Well, that's not my business, because I'm not the sept leader here. I am the cairn warden. My job is to guard this cairn from any threats to it. And the vampires in the city are not a threat to this cairn. So I honestly couldn't give two shits what the Bone Gnawers do with them. But as far as this particular operation, no, I am not going to go into battle with vampires at my side. Not happening. But there are enough of us. It's just a matter of who we send and who stays. And when I last spoke to you guys, it sounded like you wanted the 5 of you to guard the cairn, and then Silver Glare and I and whoever else we can round up are gonna. I think if we wall them in from all 4 sides, I think that 10 of us should be enough. There's 6 of them. 10 of us, especially given that we've got elders, we've got more experienced warriors. These are kids fresh off their first change, more or less. I think if there's 10 of us coming from 4 sides, flanking them, taking them by surprise, and it's done swiftly, I think we can wipe them out with minimal carnage. And I'm more than willing to take the front lines on this. I wouldn't ask somebody to do something I wasn't willing to do myself.
Question for the storyteller.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know we've skipped a few weeks, so I'm a little fuzzy on details. Have we, prior to now, established the exact number of the black spirals?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's mentioned the number 6.
It would be
on several
information
occasions.
from Tim, but we repeatedly have heard like witnesses in the city, security camp, stuff like that.
Yep.
Right. Second question, does 6 include the metis that they may have turned Morning Cloud's child?
No.
Or would he be a potential 7?
He would be potential 7. Yeah.
All right. Then Tig will bring that up.
All right. Yeah. Okay.
6,
Let's
potentially
make it,
7.
Let's make it 12 if we can. How many of us are there?
Well, but how
March Lion is
how
not
do we
going to be any.
How do we know that one of us who is going into attack is not the traitor and who could turn on the rest of us to shift the balance while we are attempting to move in?
Because I know who the traitor is and it's taken care of.
Who is the traitor?
What, Nye?
I'm not at liberty to say, but it's taken care of. That person is not going to be a threat to the cairn after this attack.
How are you not at liberty to say? We've been hunting this traitor for the past several days.
It's complicated.
C kind
I'm
of
the
puts a hand up.
I got 6 successes on an insight lying roll on that one.
He's telling the absolute truth at the moment.
I seriously doubt his difficulty is 2, though.
Oh, that's fair.
But yeah, he's also completely telling the truth.
But
It would have been 4.
Yeah, C puts a hand up at this point. This is not the time for arguing about how this came to be. At the moment, there has been a lot of trouble, a lot of argument, a lot of tension that has been building, not just within this cairn, but within this city among all of its guru. If we want to solve this, if we wish to make up for the mistakes that we have made in letting it get this far, he says, looking at Tim, and the mistakes of our ancestors in letting this divide occur, we must all act as one in solving this.
I couldn't agree
We
more.
should be fighting with the Bone Gnawers in solving this.
I am happy to work with the Bone Gnawers, just not with their allies. Now, as far as all the whys and wherefores and the explanations, he glances lingeringly toward where Marsh Lion is sleeping in the Redwood Circle. There's at least one person who will still be alive at the end of all this, who will be able to explain everything that needs to be explained. But in the meantime, we just need to get this done, get the black spirals wiped out, and then we can sort it out afterward. Because we've already given them too much chance to plot and counterplot, and these fuckers are smarter than I expected. So, yeah.
And
Question
Tim,
for the storyteller.
Mm-hmm.
Tim has just basically said he knows who the traitor is and that it's taken care of. I feel that would send every alarm bell going off on Tig's curiosity flaw.
Okay. So
what would
you
my
gonna do?
difficulty be for that?
Probably Difficulty 8.
Okay. Oh, wow.
Excellent.
Ah,
He
and so
manages to keep it together.
and C kind of looks at Tim. There is far more justice and far more redemption for all of our mistakes if everyone makes it out of this alive. Let's make sure that we have as few casualties as possible.
That's always the plan, but looking at what we're looking at, it's going to be a bloodbath, and mostly on their side, but no guarantees. We'll do our best, but in the
I've
heat
got
of the moment, things happen.
an out of character question.
Sure.
I know it has been stated previously that Ethan is the leader of this pack, but I know it was stated to Thistle by Tim. Was that ever stated to anyone else?
Nope.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that I just wanted to figure out what knowledge that was.
Yeah, nobody knows that, but
So, even with the traitor taken care of, it's essential that some people stay at the cairn.
yes.
We might be inexperienced, but we probably are still a good option for that.
I agree.
We're fairly cohesive. We can cover all the different potential.
And also, I know that the 5 of you are important not just for these events, but for the future of the Guru as a whole. According to what March Lion has told me, the prophecy indicates that there's more for you to do. So I don't want to send you into a bloodbath because we can't count on destiny to protect you necessarily. So I'd rather you stay here. And also, your totem is Turtle. And that's what Turtle does. He digs in and he defends his land. So that seems appropriate spiritually as well as tactically. And I also know that you are all smart and capable enough to set up a basic defense just in case anything happens. You know where there's only one place anybody could be coming in. You can set up traps. You can do whatever you want. But yeah, that would be...
Tig's eyes get very big and bright now that he's been told he has permission to set up traps.
He sort of catches Tig's expression and gives him a little wink. And I trust you. And I'm not just leaving you here because I'm benching you. I expect you to be active. I expect you to be smart. I expect you to be prepared for anything because the Black Spirals have surprised us before. And
there's still a problem with this plan.
What's the problem?
We have to go to them in their hole.
Yep.
Through very tight areas.
Well, you don't, but yeah,
I'm using we as the colloquialism, referring to us as werewolves as a society, not me in specific.
Thistle is just really impressed that Shadow figured out the word colloquialism.
So,
Shadow's got
more
than one dot in intelligence.
It's gonna suck.
We know.
There's got more than one dot in intelligence, but he's also a lupus whose first language is Italian.
It's true.
That's war.
We know
it's gonna be ugly.
Yes, but we know there are 4 entrances, and we know that one of these entrances leads to the Mills Hotel.
Yeah.
That's where we found one of the entrances previously. Or at least that I may have misunderstood additional information that was clarified because
Shadow is correct,
the player was paying attention elsewhere.
Shadow is correct, but Tim will explain in character. Right. So there is a way to get to their lair from underneath the Mills Hotel. When you guys did your little reconnaissance and you found that door in the basement, I had one of my guys check it out. And there is a way to get to them from there, but that is not, it's not, if we block off the 4 main sewer tunnels, it also blocks off that exit. So that'll be covered, but we can't go in there that way because that's the in and out that they use most frequently. And so they have it probably set up with all kinds of booby traps and God only knows what. So that's where they've been seen, that's where they've been going in and out. So
my suggestion would have been, if we know their most common route, and we are able to block off the other exits, that area beneath the Mills Hotel was much larger. It may be trapped, but there's more room. If we were to lure them there, it would not be out of the city. It would not be in the city, and we could contain them.
When it's their territory, room works against us because it's room we're not familiar with, that they know all the ins and outs of. Our only chance is to bottle them up like sardines and just
clog
mutilate
the halls with our dead.
Yep.
Also, my source has indicated that it's not just traps. It's banes, it's all sorts of things that live in that entrance that are absent from the other entrances.
Yeah, see, I didn't know exactly what, but it would make sense that they would have bane servants. They would have any number of things guarding their usual way in and out. So our best bet is to come in through the manholes in Hamid form, come at them 4 directions at once. And the thing is, this is shock and awe we're talking about. It's going to be simultaneous. It'll have to be perfectly coordinated. Everyone comes in at the same time, rushes in. And these are people that I've fought with, and I trust them, and I know that we are well coordinated. I will bring, I want to bring Tea Tree, but if we lose her, anyway, I'll figure it out. I'll figure out who's coming and who's staying. But
are you bringing the traitor?
The traitor is... I can't go into that because until this is over with, I don't want that interfering with operations. But I have managed the traitor. The traitor is exactly where the traitor needs to be in this situation, will not be a danger to anyone, and will be dealt with appropriately when this is over.
With respect, I think we need to know if they are here with us or elsewhere.
With respect, I'm the Cairn Warder, and I will tell you what you need to know. And what you need to know is if you're staying or if you're coming with us, and it sounds like you've decided that you're staying. Am I correct, or are you going to be on the assault?
Looks at sea.
It's your call. Just know that people will get killed on this mission, so if there is absolutely no dishonor in defending your land, particularly if what they're trying to do is lure us all out.
Question to the storyteller: have we figured out the communication link over our course of using it enough to communicate directly just with one other person on the link?
Yeah, I think so. Mm-hmm.
So directly to Thistle and no one else, I ask, do we need to keep him safe?
Thistle will... It is likely that if he goes, he will kamikaze try to. But...
That's not what I asked. Do you want to save him?
Of course I do. But at the same time, We're
going, he says out loud.
Yeah? All right. Well, let me figure out who's staying then. I've got to refigure everything in my head. Besides March Lion, who can't go. He's too sick. All right.
He's sick.
Have you seen him lately? Since
But you're talking like legit physical illness? I mean, I thought we were kind of, really good at not being sick.
Age is catching up to him.
Look, I'm being...
Anyway, sorry.
I'm being euphemistic here.
Not important right now.
Yeah. But yeah, I think we're dealing with the Harano situation, but I'm going to deal with that. We'll deal with that after. Anyway, he's safe here.
Do I know what Harano means? Because that word's been thrown around, and I, the player, have no idea what the fuck that means.
I don't know.
It's magical depression.
Yeah, it's a thing that happens to Guru sometimes, where the whole losing battle against the worm becomes too much, and they basically get like seriously, almost metaphysically, magically, chemically, like clinically depressed. So they're like,
Does Shadow know what that is?
I don't know if he would. It's not something that like comes up as
I
part of
feel like-
basic training.
I
Would
feel
the
like-
get of
Predict-
Fenris of all people be honest about depression?
Well-
Yeah,
being
I don't
Yeah.
think the Get of Fenris talk about Hirano much. Grudek would know what
The
he's
get,
talking about.
the get probably don't have to worry about it too much because we die before that happens.
Exactly, yeah.
Does Shadow look confused? Because if so,
Yes,
Grudek will
Shadow is
absolutely
very much-
lean over and explain.
Yes.
At any rate, that means he's going to be here. He won't be doing any fighting. His rage has completely left him. So yeah, I'll figure out who's going to stay here with him, and the 5 of you, and some others will come with me, and I'll let you know who's going and who's staying just as soon as I figure that out. I should meet with Tea Tree.
One
Figure out
of,
if she wants to
one
stay or
of-
go.
one of the Black Spirals knows me as his enemy. If I go in first through one of the entrances, it will likely draw some of them away from the others and let more of our people get in without getting caught in a trap.
That's what we want to do. Is we want one group to go in just ahead of the others so that they've got their backs to the rest of us, and then the other 3 groups goes in, get them from the rear, and it should be over pretty quickly.
And let the great wolf be the first thing they see before they die.
You right.
You muted. You cut out there. I have no idea what the response was.
Oh, he can't afford to lose you. But you're right. If he knows you, that's going to be a better distraction than anything else we could throw at them, except, maybe vampires, but that's completely off the table. So, yeah. All right, let me think. God, you know what? If the 5 of you are coming, I've got to talk with your people, Grudek, because, yeah, the more cannon fodder we've got going into this, the more chance that the 5 of you survive. So
so Thistle probably will at this point forget to PMC and just that is what I was going to say next. Between Turtle and how we're kind of obligated to stay here and how we're going to end up being protected, we should just never mind. Sorry.
No,
It's your decision.
Grudek will also say, and to be clear, that was over the totem link, or that was
That was over the totem link, but it was
Okay.
not private to see.
Grudek will also say, yes, I don't want our involvement to be the cause that my tribe members are used as cannon fodder.
We don't need bodies.
I didn't mean the
to
bone
protect.
gnars, I meant the leeches.
So now that is on the table. Okay, well, wait, no, that was also over the totem link. So Tim,
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. So what C was about to say is probably going to trigger that anyway. We don't need bodies of other Guru to be laid before us.
Oh, I didn't mean the Guru. I meant the leeches. Cannon
well,
fodder
now that is
distraction.
on the table.
They would. It is on the table. If the 5 of you are coming with us, then we need all the bodies we can get to reduce the chances that they take one of you.
My understanding is that vampires are not as physically large and would probably be able to move better in the sewers. They'd probably have the combat advantage on these black spirals and tight quarters.
And they would also they would grab their attention, most certainly, because they are they would be quite a shock and a surprise, I imagine, if they came barreling into their sanctum. That would definitely distract them enough that Guru could come from the other 3 sides and wipe them out from behind.
It's a difficult decision. If only we had a week to consider it.
I think
Also not in character, but
All right, so last call. We got to get this thing going. Are you coming or are you staying?
Can-
See, it's your call.
Can
Yeah,
can we
Thistle's just
can we
looking at
break
C.
there for the week, or do you
Uh,
want to
I want to
definitively end
start.
on
I
that
want to
decision?
start next week with the actual.
See, C can tell from Shadow's body language, not that Shadow is saying anything either mentally or physically, that Shadow wants to go there and rip apart some black spirals so that they don't rip apart other members of the Cairn, because he thinks Tim's plan is going to get a lot of Garou killed, and Tim is stupid.
Tim has said that. Tim
Yeah,
has
yeah.
not denied that. He has
Yeah,
said
yeah.
people are going to die.
No, I know, but I'm
but
giving that to
including
C.
all of the black spiral.
I'm giving that to C,
Yeah.
is that C can probably tell Shadow wants to be there because Shadow feels he can prevent some of those deaths.
Yeah, and so C kind of sends over the totem link. Unless any of you have an objection, I want to save as many lives as we can.
It is your decision.
I've got a shite ton of objections, but none of them involve us staying here at the cairn or going.
Yeah, over the mental link. I am the embodiment of Fenris's rage. Unleash me at our enemies.
Rudek.
I also want to save as many people as possible, as long as our presence will not be an excuse to lose any other members of the Garou. I agree. It sounds as though March Lion, given comments being made by Tim, March Lion may not be the only one dealing with Hirano. Tim seems to be intent on not returning from this. Whatever his reasons,
We're going to keep him alive. We're going, he says out loud.
All right. Then make whatever preparations you need to make. I will let you know as soon as I know who is coming with us and who is staying.
And he kind of gives that he's kind of smile showing teeth, which are again like glistening like silver. I think we'll be ready.
All right. And he sort of gives you guys a little salute and gets up and shoves his hands in his pockets and kind of slouches off toward Tea Tree's cabin. And that looks like a place to call it for the night. And when we start next time, and we will be in full assault mode.
All right.
All right, say goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye,
Night, everybody.
everybody.
Goodbye.